Hello everyone, in this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. In today's most important news, let's begin with a significant update from Washington, D.C. Army Chief Field Marshal Awami Lens is scheduled to visit Washington, D.C. on June 12th, 13th and 14th. In this context, Waqar Khan, the president of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI Maryland State, tweeted, expressing the intention that when Awami Lens visits DC, there will be a strong protest. He announced on behalf of PTI and the Pakistani community that a robust demonstration will take place. Obviously, if the protest happens, I too will be present there. This protest will only happen if Field Marshal Lens actually visits, because the news, although coming from various sources, has not yet been officially confirmed or published anywhere, but all indications suggest he will be visiting. He had visited DC before, and although there was a protest, it wasn't as strong. There were various reasons. Some internal people, some external factors, and also a trusted army general was sent ahead of time to meet with people, which disrupted the protest plans. The PTI rank and file in the US were very displeased with this, and rightly so. This time, as soon as even a slight indication emerged, Waqar Khan announced that if Awami Lens comes, a full-fledged protest will occur. Now moving to the next news, which is also related to the US, Maryam Nawaz is planning a week to 10-day visit to the United States. However, the trip is currently delayed due to a visa issue involving a key member of her staff. We don't yet know who exactly, but it seems that either their visa was rejected or still under process. This delay is the reason her trip has not proceeded yet. Now it remains to be seen whether Maryam Nawaz will travel without this staff member or wait for them. Her PSO, personal staff officer, who also served as PSO to former CM Buzdar, is still in her team. I used to say back then that he was essentially a PMLN loyalist working for Buzdar. In fact, sometimes it seemed Buzdar himself might have been a hidden PMLN supporter, considering how many of his PSOs remained the same even after the government changed. Buzdar is now relaxing in Pakistan, enjoying cold mangoes dipped in river water, listening to romantic songs. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Back to Maryam Nawaz. If she does visit the US, she too will be greeted with strong protests wherever she makes appearances. I'm saying this in advance. Now to the next piece of news, still related to these same political families. We, as a Pakistani nation, are very emotional and often short-sighted. We even laugh and clap when an elder falls from a bicycle instead of helping them up. Something similar was done by Bilawal Bhutto Zardari in Washington, D.C. He was sent there by Chaudhry Sahib to do diplomatic work against India. There, he made a statement that surprised everyone, yet many Pakistanis found it humorous and started celebrating it as a meme. A young Pakistani girl recently tweeted during the current conflict saying, "Modi is the Temu version of Netanyahu." For context, Temu is a Chinese e-commerce platform, a bit like Amazon, but targets individual consumers and sells lower-priced products. It's a sister company to Alibaba, but less bulk-oriented. Her tweet implied that Modi is like a low-quality version of Netanyahu, as Temu is considered to sell inferior quality goods. But a child making this kind of meme is one thing. A former foreign minister doing it is something else. Bilawal, speaking in Washington, said, "Mr. Modi is sort of the Temu version of Netanyahu, a poor copy. You might not see anything wrong with that at first. You might think I'm just being critical because I oppose PPP. Maybe you're partially right. Perhaps 10 to 30% of my bias is showing, but hear me out. In the Western world, there's a consistent trend of belittling Chinese products, often labeling them as low quality. But the reality is, almost everything sold in American stores is made in China, including Apple products. Even the J-10C jets you used to down Indian Rafale aircraft are Chinese. Their PL-15 missiles outrange French ones. So it's not wise to mock Chinese quality, especially when China is Pakistan's closest ally. And in China, major companies like Alibaba, Temu, Xiaomi, etc. are backed by the Chinese government, which treats them like national assets. So mocking Temu in Washington isn't just mocking a company, it's mocking a Chinese national asset. So, to ridicule Modi, Bilawal ended up insulting Temu and, by extension, China, while standing in the US. That's a diplomatic blunder, especially since China stands with Pakistan in the regional power struggle against India. Imagine two people arguing and you mock a third party, who is your close friend, just to insult the other. How would your friend feel? While Temu can't sue him in the US, due to free speech laws, such comments would definitely be unacceptable in Pakistan or China. Since we're talking about this, let's move on to another point. He, Bilawal Bhutto, shouldn't have criticized any Russian technology either. He could have said something else, perhaps something like, Modi's situation is like that of their fighter jets, or Modi is just like their XYZ thing. He could have mocked Modi in any number of ways, but what was the need to ridicule a major Chinese company? That is beyond my understanding, and because of our spectator-like nature, we start clapping, saying, wow, what a meme. But what can I say? We don't think about the ramifications of such things. We mock a country that has stood so strongly with us. Yet, you can't entirely blame Bilawal either, because he's never worked an hour in his life. You know that even if you make the simplest product, you have to polish the edges. Even when making a round roti, you often have to smooth it out first. When parties are passed down like inheritance in family-limited parties, people don't know what's appropriate to say or not. Maybe he saw the meme on Instagram or the tweet by that little girl on Twitter and just threw it into his speech. Those around him should have stopped him from referencing a Chinese company. Anyway, now analysts in Pakistan, like Cyril Almeida and others who understand these things, are tweeting that perhaps Bilawal either genuinely didn't know or he did know and still shouldn't have said such a thing about a Chinese company. Moving on, the final match of the IPL took place, and it was won by Royal Challengers Bangalore, the team from Bengaluru. After the win, when the team reached Bengaluru, they began preparing for a victory celebration. But far more fans than expected showed up, over 200,000 fans. They had planned to celebrate inside the stadium, but the gates were too small and the crowd surged. The police responded with baton charges instead of managing the crowd properly, as they hadn't expected such a large gathering. This resulted in severe mismanagement and a stampede, in which 11 people died, including a child, and 50 others were critically injured. We'll have to see what further updates emerge about them. But it's undoubtedly a very tragic incident, one that could have been avoided with better arrangements. Former President Donald Trump has announced a new travel ban, a very unique one this time. Previously, when he imposed a ban, it was called a Muslim ban because it targeted mostly Muslim countries. This time, he has imposed a ban on 12 countries, about half of which are Muslim and half non-Muslim. The banned countries include Iran, Syria, Yemen and others, including Haiti. Citizens of these countries will no longer be able to enter the United States. Visas issued until June 9th will be honoured, but after that, they won't be accepted. In addition to these 12, there are 7 more countries on which partial bans have been placed, bringing the total affected to 19 or 20 countries. There's a serious concern that Pakistan, which is currently on the yellow or orange watch list, could also be added soon. Back in March, it had emerged that Pakistan was on the secondary list. In my analysis, Trump has played a clever move this time. Previously, because the ban affected mostly Muslims, courts struck it down for targeting a religion. So this time, Trump included non-Muslim countries too, like Myanmar, to avoid legal backlash and prevent people from calling it a Muslim ban. He explained that this action was taken due to an incident in Boulder, Colorado, where a man threw a bomb at a gas station. The suspect was an Egyptian citizen who allegedly entered the United States through Kuwait. However, neither Egypt nor Kuwait is on this new ban list, which suggests that the stated reason is likely not the real reason. We have made a detailed English-language documentary vlog on this topic, explaining the implications of Trump's travel ban on the Muslim world, and especially on Pakistan. As I mentioned, Pakistan is still on the second list for now. Trump may be testing the waters with this ban to see how the courts react. If the ban survives, he could easily expand it to more countries, including Pakistan. The link to the documentary is in the comments and description, and we've shared it on our WhatsApp channel too. Please watch it to get a holistic view of how this affects international relations, global politics, and the future of United States-Pakistan relations. Raja Pervez Ashraf stated that the Election Commission of Pakistan has completed its term and should now step down. Quite a surprising statement, because he seems to forget that the PPP voted for the 26th constitutional amendment, which allows the Chief Election Commissioner to continue in office beyond their original term. Otherwise, yes, the Commissioner would have had to step down. Either Raja Pervez Ashraf has memory issues or he's practicing hypocrisy. Perhaps, like the movie Gajini, he suffers from short-term memory loss. The same constitutional amendment passed by his own party is what allows the Commissioner to remain in office, and now he's publicly suggesting otherwise, likely just to please the gallery. Assistant Commissioner Mohammed Hanif Nourzai has been abducted. You already know this. He's been kidnapped by the Baloch Liberation Front, not the BLA, though both groups operate similarly. They have announced that Nourzai is in their custody and they are currently interrogating him. They claim to have handed him over to their investigation team and that a formal decision about his fate will be made after the investigation is complete. This is essentially a state within a state with their own courts, investigators and judgment processes. As of now, our Assistant Commissioner remains in their captivity. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has congratulated Donald Trump on the occasion of America's 249th Independence Day. Technically, US Independence Day is celebrated on July the 4th, but embassies around the world often start holding events in advance. One such celebration was recently held at the US Embassy in Islamabad, where Shahbaz Sharif made a speech. He said that Trump has proven without a doubt that he is a messenger of peace, a statesman, and a great deal maker. He congratulated the US on its independence. Now, whether you consider this a joke or a genuine statement is up to you. The important thing is whether the Americans care or whether it makes any difference to them. Think of it this way. When a baby is born or someone gets married, guests come to offer congratulations. Some are relatives and some are just opportunists looking for a gift. Sometimes they won't leave until you hand over a cash envelope or some tip. They might clap, sing, or make noise outside your door until they're paid. It seems Shahbaz Sharif is doing something similar, offering congratulations, perhaps hoping for something in return. Let's see what response comes from the other side. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.